Welcome to April's installment of the Philippine Indigenous Languages Lecture Series, or PILS, for the year 2025. This year-long series of public lectures was organized in solidarity with the International Decade of Indigenous Languages from 2022 to 2032 as declared by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, or UNESCO. I am John Michael Tabano, your moderator for today. This event is being recorded and will be uploaded on the YouTube channel of the UB Department of Linguistics. For the members of the audience, if you have any questions, we will try to address them after the talk. We request that you keep your queries concise, to the point, and respectful. Please be quick and please be kind. This lecture will be on Pangasinan, ISO 639 Code, PAG, a major Philippine language spoken in the southern Cordilleras. Our speaker is currently an assistant professor at the Department of Linguistics, University of the Philippines, Diliman. He finished his MA degree at the same institution. His research interests include morphosyntax, lexicography, social linguistics, Pangasinan linguistics, and Bahasa Indonesia. He has authored several works on multilingualism, language shift, subcategorization, and translation. To present this talk with the title, The Concept of Gawan in Pangasinan, let us welcome Assistant Professor Francisco Rosario, Jr.
Good morning. Nakakapanibago yun. Napaka-formal na setup for my software 1 class. So, konting kwento lang, yung inspiration ng presentation ito. Matagal ko na siya iniisip. Kasi growing up, narinig ko naman itong expression na ito, gawat na. But noong 2022, I think sometime in August 2022, meron pinadaanan ng isang lugar sa may Villasis, Pangasinan. And sabi ng kapatid ko, walang gawat dito. So ano may ibig sabihin nung comment na yun, na bakit dito sa lugar na ito walang gawat? Samantalang halimbawa sa amin, na-experience namin yung gawat. Okay? And then during that time kasi, dadaan kami sa isang rice field. At yung kanilang rice field that time, parang in a few weeks or siguro in a month time, ready na for harvest. And that's August 2022. So August 2022, panahon pa rin ng bagyo ito kung tutusin. And then after 2 weeks yata, talagang bumagyo ng malakas din that time sa Pangasinan. So anong significance nito? Later, so we'll be discussing yung concept ng gawat sa Pangasinan. And just to give you an idea din, itong topic na ito, no? Isang section siya doon sa aking paper for my Ring 375 class, Ethno-Linguistics. I focus mainly on rice culture in Pangasinan, and yung subsection ito is the concept of gawat. Isang sudyante, walang man. Anyway, so basically this paper examines the social, cultural, and linguistic significance of rice in Filipino culture, focusing mainly on Pangasinan. It presents the different cultural beliefs associated with rice from cultivation to consumption. Various linguistic expressions that employ the metaphorical use of rice are discussed to show how rice has penetrated the consciousness of its users by using it as a linguistic resource in describing particular experiences and situations. The Pangasinan concept of gawa, a term usually associated with the difficulty experienced during the lean months, is also analyzed to show how unique this concept is in the language. It is also compared with other semantically and linguistically related terms in other Philippine languages, particularly Ilocano and Tagalog. Okay, so let's start with cultural significance of rice. No? In Fray Miguel Ruiz Diccionario Español en Tagalog, Doreen Fernandez identified 201 words that pertain to rice. This was cited in Aguilar 2013. And this should not come as a surprise because we use distinct terms to refer to various stages of rice. And then yung palay, for example, for the rice plant or unhusked rice, bigas or husked rice, kanin for cooked rice, and bahaw for leftover rice. We also use different terms to refer to the different rice varieties. The online website Pinoy Rice Knowledge Bank listed and classified the varieties of rice depending on ecosystem. So merong irrigated lowland rice, irrigated lowland hybrid, irrigated lowland glutinous, rain-fed lowland, maraming varieties ng rice na meron dito sa Pilipinas. And there are different names for each rice variety, kung namamalengke kayo, no? Depending on the ecosystem. And for the irrigated lowland variety alone, the names for rice varieties include Nahanin, Mulawi, Karanglan, Calavera, Pagsanhan, Peñaranda, Matatag, Tubigan, Angelica, Mabango, and Kaponik. Maraming tawag doon sa iba't ibang varieties ng rice. Okay, in Pangasinan, there are the following words that pertain to rice. Number one, we have Pagoy, referring to the rice plant. Tapos kapag madadaan ka sa isang rice field, we'll see Pasirser, okay, Ilik for the palay, yung butil ng palay, and then Balas for the uncooked rice, Niluto for cooked rice, Baaw, or yung sa bahaw. Pero sa amin, baaw, nagkaroon na rin ng semantic change na yung baaw ay cooked rice na rin, ay hindi lang siya yung tipong leftover rice, no? Ganon for the totong, no? So, ganon kasi critical tutusin yung rice sa kultura natin, and it's reflected or base kung sa iba't ibang mga terminologies na ginagamit natin dito sa rice. And there are also common beliefs among different ethno-linguistic groups in the Philippines when it comes to growing rice, or cited in Aguilar. In Bontoc, for example, rice is harvested with a minimum shock or disturbance. Ibig sabihin, pag ginagawa yung pag-harvest, dapat tahimik yung proseso. Kasi in modern rice harvest technology, may mga traktor tayong ginagamit, may mga machines tayong ginagamit, at napaka-ingay nun, no? And for traditional rice farming, rice harvesting techniques, hindi yun acceptable because it can drive away or scare the spirits. In Ifugao, Barton noted that the granaries where rice is kept, yung mga kamalig, are guarded by bulul, figures which are believed to increase rice supply while in storage. So I don't know if kung nakapunta kayo sa Baguio or sa Portuguera, yung image ng bulul, okay, na parang nagbabantay doon sa rice granaries or even sa mga rice fields. It's also believed that eating recently harvested rice can cause blood stool and high fever, so one has to wait for a month or two after harvest before eating it. So may ganun paniniwala din. No? But sa amin sa bahay, yung tatay ko yung tagaluto ng rice kapag bagong harvest, at sinasabi na mahirap iluto yung mga bagong harvest na rice. Kasi parang tinatansya mo pa, dahil yung moisture content ng rice kapag bagong harvest, mataas. So, kailangan mong tansyain yung dami ng tubig. Kasi minsan mapapadami ka ng tubig kung doon sa dating rice na ginagamit mo. But then, pag tumatagal, mababa yung moisture content ng rice. So dadamihan mo na yung tubig. In Ifugao, when newly harvested rice is eaten, a ritual is held requesting the rice grains to feel tranquility. So parang pinapag-usapan nung mga tao yung rice, inadasalan nila na dapat kapag nakapasok na siya doon sa tiyan ng mga bata, hindi siya magpo-cause ng illness o ng sakit sa kanila. Okay, so ilan naman ito doon sa mga paniniwala na may kinalaman doon sa rice. No? May ritual pa nga na involved in tutusin. And titignan naman natin the rice in everyday language, one way to assess whether an object in the immediate physical world has a cultural significance in people's lives is by examining the metaphors associated to it. So ngayon titignan natin yung iba't ibang mga linguistic expressions na ginagamitan ng iba't ibang mga terms na related sa rice. First, we have mga popular everyday expressions like marami ka pang kakailing bigas. I don't know if you've heard that, no? She still needs to eat more rice. Sasabihin ba, bakit hindi kanin? Ano ba yung significance, no? Nung bigas, no? Does it have something to do with, being immature? Dahil kasi yung bigas, hindi pa niya na-achieve, sabihin natin yung kanyang complete state. Unlike halimbawa, yung kanin, na naluto na siya, no? Kung baka sa prutas, hinog na siya, no? Unlike halimbawa pag bigas, hindi pa siya naluluto, no? And we have these expressions like, ang kasal ay hindi parang kanin kapag sinubo na, kapag napasok ay iluluwa. Marriage is not something that you take to your mouth and spit out when you get burned. No? So So the pervasiveness of rice in our consciousness is also observed in some of the common expressions we use in our daily life to describe a person who is still too young or not yet fit for a certain role is often told, sabi ko kanina, marami ka pang kakainin bigas. And parents who are giving advice to their children who want to get married early often say ang kasal ay hindi parang kanin kapag sinubo na, kapag napaso ay inuluwa. Marami tayong mga proverbs no, sa iba-ibang mga languages at makita natin yun doon sa collection ni Damiana Eugenio at nandoon yung iba't ibang mga proverbs na gumagamit ng mga rice-related vocabs. For example, sa Tagalog, ang isang budyo ng kanin nakakatunaw sa isang tapayang asin. O baho man, magalintay pa ang bagong saing. No? So, Damiana Eugenio made an extensive compilation of 50 proverbs and observed that the metaphorical use of an incident constitutes the most significant and distinctive group of 50 proverbs. In her collection, there are 39 proverbs from different 50 languages pertaining to rice that give lessons about life, virtues, and good values, and human nature. It is also very common to hear proverbs that indicate virtues held in high esteem, like humility, gratitude, strength, and kindness. Meron din tayong mga proverbs in Ilocano, like this one, tiada apagas mo, isko ti apuyel. Pagdisyon, pagas agraman tayo, tuyo. Sa Kapampangan naman, no, ipalin ng sasakuya, ibalo, kapun, asesese kaya. So, dapat potang, ikalaman niya, dugo yang gabon at pilibatan na. So, growing rice does not know the soil, or growing rice does not know the soil that nourishes it, but when it bears fruit, it stoops to the soil from where it has grown. There's something, talks about humility. No? Kapag yung rice daw na nagkakalaman na ay tumutumo. Okay? Tumutumo or tumutumo? Yumuyuko. Okay, yumuyuko. We also have proverbs in people and blind. Anyway, sa Pangasinan naman, okay, punta tayo doon sa significance ng rice culture sa Pangasinan. So before that, no, you know where Pangasinan is. It's a province in the northwestern region in the Philippines. So yung economy niya relies heavily on agriculture, the manufacturing industry, and financial services. So possible sa data ng provincial government, yung production ng agricultural sector ay nakafocus sa rice, corn, mango, tobacco, and coconut, at ilan pa sa mga common agricultural products. And palay accounted for 1.3 million metric tons of cereals produced in the province, while milk rice production also reached 791,000 metric tons. So mataas pa yung rice production sa Pangasinan. For Pangasinenses, rice is more than just food and commodity. Rice is a form of coffee. It is believed to be beneficial to one's health and can be used as a quick remedy for some illnesses. Others claim that it has potent anti-inflammatory effects and digestive health benefits. Nung bata ko, I remember yung nanay ko noon, gumagawa siya ng rice coffee. So nag-brew siya ng kape sa kawali. After noon, papakuluan niya. So when rice coffee is available in the morning or in the afternoon, alam ko na hindi siya simple drink lang, no, na pwede lang inumin, okay, for merienda. No. Alam ko rin na yung nanay ko dati, meron siya nararamdaman, bakit meron rice coffee dati. Usually yung kanyang go-to remedy, no, kapag gano'n siyang nararamdaman sa sikmura. And growing up, throwing a spoonful of rice and sprinkling a little drink like alcohol or soda is performed as an offering to the spirits. The phrase, itong sinasabi namin bago kami kumain pag nasa labas kami, Nyay Butangyo, here's your share, is uttered while doing the act. No? So halimbawa, nasa labas kayo, bago kayo kumain, so kukuha kayo ng konting kanin, tapos itatapon nyo sa tabi and you say that, Nyay Butangyo, here's your share. Which is in a way, has become a short and quick ritual. It is also believed that a person who does not perform the ritual would be punished by the spirits. I remember kapag hindi namin yung ginagawa ng bata kami, parang magiging hindi yung muso namin. Hindi ko nagagawin, but mangingiwi yung muso mo. No? So, bata ka, no? Gagawin mo siya. No? Sa form of, control din na dapat kumabangin ito pinapractice mo siya. No? So the spirits would cause one quarter of person's mouth to drop. No? So in Pangasinan, we call this awus-bus suluto, or yung twisted mouth. Another common practice where rice is used as an offering is during Pistay Inatel, yung Undas. Okay. Undas, yung Feast of the Dead, on the first day of November. So weeks before the feast, rice farmers harvest their ansakto, or yung glutinous rice, to bake daruman, yung tinatawag na black sticky rice. Actually, itong daruman na ito, pwede rin siyang gawa ng separate na research. I mean, cultural significance in this, especially during Undas. So, but just to give you an idea, the traditional process of making daruman is very tedious. The process starts by picking the young stalks of glutinous rice using gamlang, yung rice reaper. Pwede nung nanay ko nun, nagkagamlang na sila. The rice grains are put in fire, and then blackened grains are pounded in a wooden pestle. Daruman is usually cooked by steaming, turning, and folding it in coconut milk and sugar, yung tinatawag na indube, like this one, or just simply soaking it for a few hours in coconut milk and grated young coconut, o yung tinatawag na ingata. And then during Pistay Inatel, Pangasinan Catholics place daruman on the altar of their homes as an offering before they leave their homes and visit the cemetery to pay the respect to their departed loved ones. Part of the tradition is the partaking of daruman when the family returns home from merienda or early dinner, as this Pangasinan delicacy is prepared only once a year. Okay, but interestingly, dahil nagbabago na rin yung ating mga rice planting technology, in other areas in Pangasinan, for example, in Aguilar, mga daruman din, I think, nag-double cropping na sila. So that means kahit na hindi na Pistay Inatel, kahit na hindi na kasi usually 2 weeks before Undas, lumalabas itong daruman na ito. But then, because of double cropping, okay, nag-advance na yung ating technology din sa pagtatanim, pwede ka lang maka-enjoy ng daruman, no? Kahit na hindi October. Yun yung point ano. It is also shared, no, with the neighbors, or even the visiting relatives, as Pistay Inatel even serve as a meal unit for many Filipino families. And harvesting rice happens only once a year in most towns in Pangasinan, so panagdaruman, where the process of baking daruman also happens only once. However, in other municipalities such as Aguilar, and Manila, rice farmers have been planting rice twice, or planting rice 2 or 3 times a year. And this means that daruman may still be enjoyed once before or after Pistay Inatel. Okay, now let's look at rice as a symbol of wealth. No? We have mga practices, no? Like tossing rice at the newlywed couples symbolizes prosperity. Familiar ito, no? Nakikita rin natin ito sa iba pang mga eco-linguistic groups. Bringing rice and salt when moving into a new house is believed to bring good luck to the new homeowner. And protecting rice from the possibility of getting wet. So yung tatay ko, no? Yung bigasan namin, kahit na secured naman na siya, kahit sabihin natin may maanggihan, hindi naman ito mababasa yung loob, no? Pero hindi pwedeng nasa labas, no, yung bigasan. So protecting rice from the possibility of getting wet or being affected by insect infestation shows that rice is sacred. Growing up, we were always told that to waste rice leftovers should be eaten and not be dumped in the backyard. Hindi pwedeng magtatapon ka, no, ng rice sa likod. May tatapon mo yung kahit na yung bahaw o yung kahit na panis, no, na rice. Minsan, well, sorry, pero pinapakain na siya sa mga hayop minsan. And we were told that this acts of wasting rice is takimaong, or yung prohibition. This idea is somehow similar to the Tagalog expression or concept of busong, or ingratitude. I don't know if you're familiar with that concept, busong, baka mabusong ka. Okay? And usually, parang merong mangyayari sa kamay mo or something. Okay? And that rice should be treated with respect and gratitude. Okay. Now, punta tayo doon sa main focus ng Tokyo, and that's the concept of gawat in Pangasinan. So one unique concept in Pangasinan that pertains to rice is the concept of gawat. For the Pangasinenses, the word is often heard during the lean months, which happens during the rainy season. Years ago, I asked my mother why the concept is called gawat. Tapos sabi niya, explanation niya, kasi parang meron kang inaabot. Okay? And then, parang hirap abutin yung bagay na yun. Parang na-act out pa nga niya sa akin kung bakit gawat. Dahil mahirap abutin yung bagay na inaabot mo. Okay? So, this is also associated with expressions like ira, okay, or basically hardship or poverty. So we have the sakit or illness, inam or cravings, rust or hunger. May mga experience sa iba yung mga Pangasinan na minsan nag-crave sila ng pagkain, tapos hindi nila mabili or hindi nila mailuto yung pagkain na yun dahil gawat yung season na yun. Tapos sasabihin na, gawat yan talaga. Okay. Dahil nga, gustong-gusto mong makain ng ganito, pero wala kang pambili. Okay? So, ramdam na ramdam mo yung gawat. At sa panahon din ito, bakit associated siya with illness? Later, we'll talk about yung peak season din, ng influenza flu. Akalag kaming trangkaso, inakit kami ng trangkaso, for example. Siyang kami magkakapatid, so minsan, halos magkakasunod, no? Nagkakasakit yung mga bata, yung kami. No? So, ramdam na ramdam mo yung difficulty, financial loss during this time. Pero balikan natin, itong word na ito, yung gawat, documented na siya doon sa dictionaryo Pangasinan Espanyol ni Oscaria. Hindi ko nababasahin yung Spanish definition, pero using Google Translate, okay? Ang sabi dito, gawat, actually, gawat, to reach something with a hand. Abutin, basically, in Tagalog. To reach something with a hand and also reach or be enough, the cloth or anything else, for the words that one wants to do with it. So, ang awat sa piyo, for example, the wood is not enough. Hindi masyadong malinaw sa aking definition na ito, but yung significant na definition dito ay yung nandun sa susunod na line, no? The time before the harvest of palay. So again, still related, no, with the experience of Pangasinan when it comes to rice. No? The time before the harvest of palay, when it is seeding. No? Kapag nagsisimula pa lang na magkaroon ng laman, no, yung palay, yung buto ng palay. It's called gawat. Either because the new harvest is already rich, okay, paparating na, paparating na doon sa harvest season, or because the provision of the past usually arrives until naubos na, no, yung stock, no, ng nakaraang harvest. So this period of waiting usually takes place in July after the rice planting season until September, which is just a month before the actual harvest. The concept of gawat is unique in Pangasinan because though hardship and difficulty may be experienced at any time of the year, it is only heard during the said lean months. During this time, Pangasinenses and wait for a good harvest. However, it is not guaranteed whether harvest will last for several months before the next period of harvest. Interestingly, when asked about what usually comes to mind when the word gawat is used, sa Pangasinenses will think of, kaya napin ko nila yung irap, sakit, inam, hunger. And there are various reasons why these words are evoked in the waiting period. The socioeconomic condition, the seasonal changes, and the not so good weather conditions in the country that are the major contributing factors. For the Pangasinenses, this period of waiting before the rice harvest also entails difficulty as the resources become limited during this time. Towards the latter part of May, rice farmers are already preparing their land to be planted with rice. Usually, umulan na ng mga mid-May, and yung ginagawa ng mga farmers, nililisan na nila yung mga farms nila, tapos unti-unti, no? Hanggang sa magsaboy na sila nung bining o yung mid-heat. It is expected that they will be spending a hefty amount of money on seeds fertilizers, and irrigation. So you have to consider yung socio-economic condition then ng mga farmers, bakit kaya eventually makaka-experience sila ng gawa. And those with limited resources would have to sell their stocks of rice to the rice millers in exchange for cash. Kaya importante na meron kang stock or yung abasto ng rice that eventually pwede mo ma-convert into cash. And so the stocks, so basically yun yung mga pwede mong gamitin just in case wala kang magamit halimbawa na cash. Pwede mong ibenta yung stocks of rice. Tapos, around this time, no, especially before 2014, okay, kailan na start yung school? June. I mean, this coming school year, magsisimula ulit ng June. Pero nung meron yung pagdating ng June, bakit yung experience during this time, nakaka-contribute siya doon sa experience ng gawa? We have what? Yung school-related expenses. Okay? That can also affect the family's financial situation. Before 2014, June is the official start of classes in many schools and higher education institutions in the country. Around this time, the family budget is already spent on children's tuition fees, school supplies, and other related expenses at the start of classes. And remember, kanina nabanggit yung gastusin din ng mga farmers doon sa seeds, sa fertilizers, and eventually gagastos pa rin sila sa irrigation. Okay? So seasonal changes and extreme weather conditions may impact and pose challenges to the lives of the people. According to the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical Astronomical Services, or DOST Pagasa, the rainy season in the Philippines is from June to November, while the peak of the typhoon season in the Philippines is from July to October. So bakit significant din itong mga seasonal changes na ito at paano nakaka-contribute ito doon sa gawa? So flooding, mudslides, and landslides cause damaged properties which could then affect livelihood, especially in farming and fishing communities. Aside from the damaged properties, bad weather conditions will also affect the financial situation of the family when a member gets sick. Between the months of June to November, the case of influenza is also at its peak. This is according to Lucero et al. In 2016. Unexpected expenses due to health emergencies can throw a wrench in the family's monthly budget. Okay. Kaya tignan natin yung specific na word na ito yung gawa. Tapos, tignan pa natin yung ibang linguistic expressions associated to this concept. No? Gusto ko lang ma-highlighting dito yung important stages in rice cultivation kasi later makikita natin yung nagka-align din yung experience ng gawat na ito doon sa life cycle ng rice. So for Pangasinenses, gawat is not just an experience used to describe a specific experience. Since rice is one of the main products that they cultivate during the season, it is not a surprise to find linguistic expressions in the language that pertain to rice, but at the same time describing that difficult time. Some of these linguistic expressions actually pertain to a specific point in the life cycle of the rice plant. So the International Rice Research Institute in 2010 identified the important stages in the cultivation of rice. So the first one, we have the paliwalang luto, or the early growth, pagsusubi, or the active tillering, paglilihi, or panicle initiation, pamumulaklak, heading or flowering, and then anihan, or harvest. So what is referred to as gawa happens during the third stage, or the panicle initiation. It is also referred to as the start of the reproductive stage of the rice plant. At this stage, local rice farmers would say, malukon na rin pagay. Okay, malukon na rin pagay. Yeah. So literally, the rice plant is pregnant. And then kapag buntis na yung mga pahalay, sasabihin ng mga Pangasinenses, gawat na. Okay? Bakit kaya gawat na? This goes on to the fourth stage, or the flowering stage. So ganun din, mula doon sa tawag dito, doon sa ano nabanggit natin kanina, yung panicle initiation hanggang doon sa heading or flowering, naka-align doon no, yung expression na gawat. So, nandun yung maririnig mo expression na nanmukat-mukat na yung pagkain. Ibig sabihin parang literally, nagmumuta-muta yung mga palay. Kung babalikan natin yung mga images ito, these are not the actual pictures na nakuha ko no, from online, so from Canva lang ito. No? But, parang ginala ko yung parang closest, no? Na hindi ko siya napuntahan at nakita, na namumulaklak. But, guess what? No? Eh, sinasabi, so ito yung flowering na rice plant. So, sasabi ng Pangasinan, nagmumuta-muta na yung mga palay. So, yung mga puti-puti na yan, parang muta siya. No? Pero basically, yun yung dito, yung bulaklak no? Yung palay. And during this time, associated siya doon sa gawat pa rin. Kasi around this time siguro nasa August pa lang tayo. And then, that time, I remember nung August na yun, hindi pa kaya, buntis pa lang yata yung palay namin doon. Nung nasabi nung kapatid ko yung walang gawat dito sa Pilipinas. Kasi that time, yung palay nila nandito na sa stage na ito. Nakayupo na yung palay. Okay, ano ibig sabihin nun? Pag yumuyin mo na yung palay, okay, sasabihin nila, okay, tapos na yung gawat. But then, even before that, no, pagdating ng August kasi and September, we have this expression yung nut-nut ang gawat. No? I mean, ramdam ng Pangasinense during nut-nut. Ito yung tag-ulan. No? Pero sa akin kasi pag sinasabi natin sa Tagalog na tag-ulan, rainy season, no? Umulan lang. No? Pero pag sinabi ko kasing nut-nut in Pangasinan, ano yan? Talagang wet, dito wet and cold. And alam mo, basa yung paligid. No? Hindi lang because of the rainy season. No? And naramdaman ng mga Pangasinenses yung gawat, yung rainy season and period of scarcity during this time. At hindi lang nga naman natin, limited yung activities no, doon sa farm during this time because they were just waiting. Yung peak ng trabaho nangyari sometime ng latter part ng May, nung nagtanim na sila noong June. So after rice planting, no, mayroong period of waiting. Yung sinasabi natin na gawa. Dahil limited yung kanilang activities, anong ginagawa? Limited yung sources of income or livelihood. So nakaka-apekto dito doon sa budget ng pamilya. So sabi ko nga dito, expression, manungat-ungat tayo pag-way, literally the rice plants are having eye boogers. It's used to express the appearance of rice plant at this time, and the white flowers of rice plant resemble that of eye boogers, or the dried white mucus in the corner of a person's eye. So the flowering stage is still part of the reproductive stage of the rice plant, and for rice farmers, this period is still considered gawa because there's still no assurance that their efforts will yield a good harvest. And the flowering stage usually occurs from August to September, which also happens to be the time when severe typhoons visit the country. Okay? So during this time, nasa flowering stage pa lang yung bulaklak mo at andun pa yung threat ng mga bagyo, minsan habagat. So many local farmers worry that the typhoons would affect their crops, and this could cause flooding in the area and submerge the rice plants. The frequent rains due to southwest monsoon and the frequent typhoons results in nut-nut and the wet season, which is also associated with gawa. And for the Pangasinan farmers, gawa only ends when tinmuot taray pagay. So natatapos ang gawa kapag yung mga palay yumuyog na. Tinmuot taray pagay, asong palay gawa. So yumuko na ang mga palay, tapos na ang gawa. Okay? Nung tinanong ko, may ganun ba talaga assurance na kapag yumuko na yung palay mo, wala nang gawa? Actually, kahit pa paano meron ng assurance kasi na may laman na yung dito, may laman na yon, may butil na ng palay na nandoon. At yung bigat ko, yung nagkukos kung bakit yumuko yung palay. Okay? So kahit pa paano, may assurance na meron ka ng maka-harvest. Pwede sabihin natin, by September, may dumating na bagyo, ang dasal lang ng mga farmers yan, huwag lang malubog yung mga palay nila. Masasurvive yun ng palay. Okay? Or basta pag malapit na yung season, sometime minsan, no? Pag October, tapos may dumating na bagyo, doon na nangamba yung mga farmers. Kasi nga, malapit na yung harvest, tapos babagyuhin. No? So first maapektuhan yung quality ng rice. But then, yung idea pa lang na meron ng lamang, okay, yung may butil na ng rice no, doon sa tanim na nila, kahit pa paano nagbibigay na ng assurance na magkakaroon na ng harvest. Okay? So, kung titignan natin, no, siguro sa i-relate natin ng konti sa Saiwan, no, yung mga farmers natin, sila yung mga nasa vulnerable sectors of society. Kung titignan din natin, based on the data, for example, ng Philippine Statistics Authority, yung mga farmers din, yung mga fishermen natin, sila rin yung nakaka-experience ng mataas na poverty incidents. No? At base po sa Philippine Statistics Authority, doon sa data nilalabas nila taon-taon. And meron iba't ibang paraan kahit paano yung mga farmers natin, yung mga households, yung mga families to mitigate the effects of gawa. So number one, we have this term, abasto. But then of course, this is not a unique Pangasinan bird. It's a Spanish bird, right? Abasto. So basically, yung sa Pangasinan, kapag sinabi yung abasto, yan yung stock of rice stored in the tamalik or rice canneries. So kami meron kaming malaking wooden box no, sa likod, sa gilid ng bahay. At yung harvest nung family, for example, ng October, November, nakalagay doon sa malaking wooden box na yun. And kung kinakailangan namin ng rice, kukuha kami na ng palay doon, ibibilad, and then ipapa-puno, or dadalhin sa rice mill. Rice mill. Okay? And since Gawad is something that is experienced by Pangasinenses on a yearly basis, they already have strategies kahit paano to mitigate its impact, especially in the financial situation. So rice farmers usually have their abasto or stocks of rice. And ito yung ginagawa rin no, ng mga ibang pamilya pagdating ng panahon ng gawa. We have this term, tampa. Na-surprise ako na Tagalog word pala siya at lumabas siya doon sa Commission sa Wikang Filipino na dictionary. Tampa, yung sabi doon sa Filipino Dictionary, paunang bayad sa pagbili ng anuman. Alok na presyo o halaga ng mga paninda ng isang tindera. Sa Pangasinan, isa sa mga ginagawa ng mga farmers or yung mga nakikisaka, pagdating halimbawa ng June, minsan diba short na sila sa budget, June, July, ganyan. Especially kapag tuition fee, yung kinakailangan, yung mga maraming gastusin sa school, naghahanap sila ng mga taong nagpapatampa. Okay? So, nagbabahay-bahay sila minsan. Or minsan sa barangay, nalaman na nila kung sino yung mga nagpapatampa. Ano yung sistema dito sa tampa na ito? For example, ako, let's say meron akong extra pera, let's say meron akong 10,000 pesos. So, pwede kong ipatampa yung 10,000 pesos na yun. Si papautang, for example, 1,000 pesos, ang kapalit nun, pagdating ng harvest season, isang kaban ng bigas. Isang kaban ng palay. Okay? So, nagbabago yung walang standard, no? But then, before 500, no? Tapos ang equivalent ng 500 pesos ay isang kaban na palay. Ngayon, nasa 1,000 na yata yung equivalent ng isang kaban na palay. Okay? At ito, yung mga may pera na pwedeng magbigay ng tampa, ano yun, pwede silang kumita din talaga actually doon. Kasi darating yung punto, pagdating ng November, okay, especially kung mataas yung bilihan ng presyo per kilo ng rice. No? Sabihin natin kung 50 kilos yun, tapos nasa 14 pesos per kilo, magkano na yun? Bago ka na 1,000. I don't know. So, something like that. No? Kapag binenta na yung, pwede mo ibenta yung palay na yun. Okay? So, pwede kang kumita doon sa pagpapatampa mo. Okay? So, yun lang sa mga practices na ginagawa ng mga tagapangasinan pagdating sa, para maibsan no? Yung experience na ito ng gawa. Okay? Now, tingnan naman natin no? Itong concept ng gawa sa ibang ibang mga languages. Talagang tutusin hindi naman unique na experience. Lahat naman naghihirap. May siguro during the lean, during this time, di ba, sa pagdating ng August, we have the ghost month, di ba? Hindi bago or unique na experience ang paghihirap, scarcity, mga Pangasinenses. So kung titignan natin sa ibang mga linguistic groups, so ay nasa Ilocanos, Ilocano nasa Norte, no? Let's say expression like Kakirang or Kapugrot. Pero hindi siya unique actually doon sa lean months na ito. Unlike halimbawa yung gawat, pag sinabi mong gawat sa Pangasinan, alam mo na unique siya doon sa period of waiting na yon. Yung Kakirang, Kapugrot na ito, parang siyang paghihirap, no? Having difficulty in general or scarcity during the period of waiting for the harvest of tobacco, garlic, and other agricultural products according to my informant. Sa Tagalog naman, okay, merong expression na kawit ang palakol. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin ng kawit yung palakol? Basically, nakasabit yung palakol. So, the cycle of growing rice, not that one. Okay, so dito naman sa mga Tagalog speakers, no. Describe ko na lang. So basically, bakit kawit yung palakol? Okay? Especially doon sa mga communities na nakadepende doon sa kaingin. Okay? During habagat season, okay, or typhoon season, hindi or limited din, no, yung activities nila because of the rains. Yung sila pupunta halimbawa sa gubat or pagkakaingin, anong silbi ng pagkakaingin kapag umulan? Okay, kaya nakakawit yung palakol. So ibig sabihin talagang walang masyadong activities, no, during this time. Okay, so for the Tagalog. And yung informant dito ay taga Bulacan. Natanong kung may mga Bulacan, Tagalog Bulacan speakers dito at kung familiar kayo doon sa expression na kawit yung palakol. Okay, nakasapit na yung palakol, ibig sabihin hindi mo na siya magagamit. And in Southern Tagalog, we have Ina-Agosto, okay, from the word Agosto, which is considered the peak season of the Philippines, typhoons in the Philippines. We also have Nordeste. Ina-Agosto, I think, sa either Mindoro and Batangas ito may expressions nito. We have Nordeste Tagalog, refers to northeasterly winds that brings rains and gusty winds. So dito naman mga fishing communities na apektuhan itong madalas na pagpulan. Okay. Pero kung tingnan natin yung word na Agosto nakabase dun sa word na August, and then Nordeste, the Spanish word nakabase naman dun sa northeasterly winds. Again, unlike yun sa Gawat na again, unique siya doon sa period na yun, doon sa experience na yun. To conclude, no, rice plays a significant role in our culture. Many farmers cultivate it as an agricultural commodity. For most, if not all of us, rice is the most important part of our diet. However, rice is so pervasive that it has also penetrated our consciousness, and as a complete object, we use it metaphorically to explain abstract ideas, like marriage, relationships, good values, human nature, as well as attitudes towards life. We view rice not just as something that meets our physical needs, but also as a linguistic resource that we use to express certain experiences, ideas, and concepts. We see this when we explicate the Pangasinan concept of gawa and how Pangasinan farmers use the life cycle of the rice plant to describe a situation which is highly influenced by socioeconomic considerations, seasonal changes, and weather conditions. So through this paper, we see that language is used not just as a tool to communicate and describe the things that occur in the physical world of its users. Unpacking the linguistic forms and expressions also helps us to better understand the life and the world of its users. So, that magtatapos na aming presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Maraming salamat po, Sir Isko. Parang isa sa mga pinakamahalagang pwedeng makuha dito sa presentation na ito na nakita natin mismo doon sa structure ng slides, ng talk in general, ay yung pagbibigay ng nuance ni Sir na yung hardship, yung relevance of rice ay hindi, yung buong domain na yun ay hindi entirely exclusive sa isang ethno-linguistic group or sa isang bansa. So nakita natin kanina nag-umpisa na pinapakita ano yung relevance ng rights sa different ethno-linguistic groups in the Philippines, tapos kaliit ng Canadian scope. Medyo relevant din dun siya sa other discussions, ethno-linguistics, like yung ginhawa, na yung entire domain of experience is not completely exclusive, pero yung different nuances, yung certain experiences, at yung etymology, yung mismo mga salitang ginagamit to express these kinds of things are very important. Pero yun, punta ko muna tayo doon sa question and answer forum, open forum muna tayo. So if you have any questions, please do raise your hand and then we'll try our best to address it. Questions? Yes, Sir Alvin.
Well, the more pasensya na sa overload ng baritone ngayong umaga. Kasi ba?
Baritone kami.
Ay, si Sir Isko baka hindi baritone exactly. But yung tanong ko ay tungkol doon sa posibleng metaphorical relation between yung definition ng kawat na to reach at saka yung sa rise. Yeah. So is there, we're able to establish like that sort of metaphorical network?
Titilan ko na parang okay, doon sa dictionary ko sa isang kailangan computer ay yung isang gawa, which is to reach. And then yung gawat naman, of course, yung dito, yung period of waiting for the next harvest. Nung dinescribe siya, di ba, nung nanay ko dahil bakit gawat? O dahil parang inaabot mo isang bagay na mahirap abutin. Okay? Parang pwede mo tingnan that they are semantically related. Okay lang sabihin natin, in lexicography, pwede mo silang ilagay ito doon sa isang word entry na yun. Pero parang sa akin, parang medyo pilit yung idea na yun that you're reaching something, kaya siya related siya doon sa yung gawa na experience na yun ay related doon sa verb na gawa. Okay? So doon sa part na yun medyo hindi pa talaga ako fully convinced that they are semantically related. I want to treat them semantically different. So,
yung Spanish definition mo kanina ba?
Kay Kusgaya.
Di ba yung definition niya parang may sort of metaphorical hint, right? Kasi parang naabot na yung estado ng seed ng palay. Parang naabot niya na yung ganong like sort of age na parang may in-expect na pwede harvest.
Yeah, pwede natin tignan. Pero it's metaphor, but you can extend the meaning to that. Na, oh yeah, pwede mong tignan na they are related pa rin. Well, naabot na yung flowering, or even yung seed-bearing stage ng rice. That's also acceptable.
Isang quick follow-up. Nakapag-explore ka ng possible cognates sa ibang Philippine languages you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to, halimbawa sa Ilocano, pero may ask them kung meron ba kayong word na gawa. Okay? Sa Ilocos Norte, wala talaga. Meron silang gawa, which is to reach. Pero hindi nila associate yung verb na gawa to this particular experience or yung period na yun. And ginagamit nila yung kapugrot, kakira, halimbawa sa Ilocos Norte. Although, isa sa mga gusto ko i-explore, I think, hindi talaga siya unique lang sa Pangasinan, but yung mga probinsya, Ilocano-speaking areas na malapit sa Pangasinan, because I think in Tarlac, ginagamit yung expression din na ito. Meron lang isang gumagawa ng research on the ethnography of Gawat, pero hindi na siya natuloy dahil na nagka-COVID yung research. So parang meron akong narinig na ganong research interest at taga-Tarlac yung researcher na yun. Ano lang MA student yata siya, who's doing ethnography of Gawat at taga-Victoria Tarlac. So based on that, lumalabas na okay, so yung mga lugar na malapit sa Pangasinan, Ilocano-speaking areas malapit sa Pangasinan, or likely lumalabas na yung expression mo. Pero sa other languages, wala akong nakita.
So with Visayan, meron silang word na tawat which means also to reach pero perspective ng receiver.
Dawat.
Dawat. Pag sinabing dawati, that means parang dawaton. Like, parang halimbawa, may abutin mo that, pakidawat. So, but that means pwede pakiabot sa akin yung, so it's also abot.
In what language, sir?
Sa West Visayas, hindi lang.
West Visayas, hindi ganito.
Tapos pag halimbawa, sabihin, pag sobrang marami kang resources, tapos may kapitbahay ka na sobrang hirap, then people would say, dawat-dawatira, that means parang bigyan-bigyan mo naman yung
abot-abotan mo naman.
Yeah, abot-abotan mo naman.
For Kiligay, may term na awa.
Kaya meron din kaming awa to receive naman.
Yeah, pero this one is to hinder. So baka may connection din. Kasi tinitingnan ko nga ano ibig sabihin. Kasi pag naririnig ko siya, awat pa parang sayang din. Pero I was looking at the meaning. Sabi nila parang to hinder from doing something or something else or interrupt something. So parang siguro parang may kinalaman na maghihintay ka habang ano na yun.
So pwede natin i-explore yun.
Awat is hindi. Baka connect ko.
Mayroon mo bang speaker ng West Visayas languages dito?
Hello. Pagbati po sa inyo. Gamis ko po. Two questions. Yung una po ay, ginagamit din po ba yung gawat sa mga bagay na hindi related sa farm? So for example, naghihintay ka ng allowance o sweldo, ginagamit po ito. Tapos yung second question ko po ay, ito po ba mga farmers na tinutukoy ninyo ay sila po ba yung may-ari ng sarili nilang lupa na sinasaka nila or under po ba sila ng parang landlord na kasi po okay po yung sitwasyon po siguro ng farming kapag magkibento nila ng dun sa pag-may-ari po ng lupa.
So first question, kapag yung gawat na ay ginagamit doon sa ibang context na hindi related sa farming, nowadays, yes. Kaya halimbawa, tawag dito, pag sweldo, diba 15-30, yung pension ng sweldo, kasi pag nasa 12 na tayo, ganyan, or 10 pa lang, minsan, sasabihin ng isang teacher na, gawat lang. Ibig sabihin, naghihintay na ng sweldo, wala na, naubos na yung naunang sweldo. Ganun, so, nagkaroon na rin ng semantic extension or broadening, no, itong term na ito, na pwede siyang gamitin in these particular situation. But, what is unique about it is that until now, no, talagang maririnig mo siya during this particular time of the year from June, July hanggang September, basta before ng harvest season, matindi-matindi no, yung paggamit ng mga pangasinan dito sa expression na ito. Doon sa second question, totoo yun, no, na yung mga nakausap natin, mga farmers dito, sila yung manakikisa. Okay, so wala talaga silang sariling actually both, no? May nakikisa, kasi sa probinsya naman, may mga pagkakataon na nakikisa ka, pero at the same time, meron ka ng maliit na tiraso ng lupa. So, kaya paano yung ibang mga farmers, kapag medyo sumakses na sila, nakakabili sila ng basic natin, no? Kapag sumakses na sila, nakakabili sila ng maliit na tiraso ng lupa na pwede nilang taniman. No? Pero hindi ibig sabihin nun, na yun na lang yung tinataniman nila. Okay, so ibig sabihin, nakikisaka pa rin sila doon sa pang mga farmers na may malaking lupa at meron silang share, no, doon sa sinasaka nila. And by the way, gusto ko lang idagdag siguro, sa pagdaan ng panahon, medyo nag-iiba na rin kasing planting technology, yung quality ng mga crops din natin, ng mga seedlings, ng mga seeds na ginagamit, ay nag-iiba. Pero dati-dati, parang dependent tayo doon sa once a year, no, na pag-harvest ng rice. Now, we have double cropping, triple cropping. So, ibig sabihin kahit paano, yung dahil sa pagbabagong yun doon sa cycle ng pagtatanim, napapawasan, naiibsan na rin yung ganun may experience. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na nawawalan siya totally. Ganun din, in our experience, sa San Carlos, yung May to, let's say, November, that's yung rice season, and then pahinga yung bukid o yung lupa ng isang buwan. Pagdating ng December, hinahanda naman na siya for corn. And recently, mataas yung demand for corn production. Na yung mga may kakayahan minsan, na kahit wala silang lupa, or meron silang lupa, sabihin natin meron silang lupa, pero meron silang kakayahan to manage, for example, big lands. Like I know someone na kumuha siya, let's say, may-ari ng lupa nito, let's say 15 hectares no, of land. Tapos tataniman niya yun ng corn. No? So yung corn season ay December hanggang April. Okay? Tapos, yun, kapag mataas pa yung value ng corn, ginagrabe na yung opportunity yun para mas mataas din yung kita. And same thing, minsan nag-aalala na itong mga corn producers na ito na halimbawa kahapon muna, kapag medyo nagiging frequent na yung pag-ulan kasi mga corn kapag in-harvest, nakalatag lang yan sa bukid o minsan sa kalsada. Ang mas naudalahan yun, delikado yun kasi mababasa, magiging moist, no? So pwede siyang tumubo and the quality of corn will, of course, it will be affected, the price will be affected as well. So may mga ganun na rin changes, but still, as in relevant pa rin itong experience ko na na-observe pa rin natin. Even sa bahay namin, no? Minsan, hindi pa rin siya nawawala. No? May ginagamit pa rin, malabas from time to time pa rin itong expression na yun.
Thank you po. We have time for a few more questions. Yes.
Hello sir, fellow Cambalayan. Taga-Bautista. So for quick context lang po, ako taga-inner city. So Bautista, San Carlos, sa mga agricultural na sibilisasyon ng Pangasinan. Pero nagtuturo ako sa coastal areas naman po, sa Bandang Lingayen, Binmalay, mga estudyante ko taga-Western Pangasinan. At ang daming mga concepts na kunwari yung Agno River, hindi nila alam sa coastal areas. Pero alam po natin kasi naladaanan tayo nun. Ngayon nakita ko po yung gawat, parang ang pagkakaintindi ko po ay nag-arise doon sa agricultural context, yung sa pagsasaka. Is it the same po na gawat na meron sa mga coastal areas?
Thank you for asking that. No? Kasi even doon sa ginagawa kong paper na to, hindi ko na-include yung mga lugar na yun, yung sa mga fisher communities like Ilmalay, Lingayen, no? Even parts of Dagupan. No? So ito yung magandang i-explore actually na meron, more likely ginagamit din nila yung gawa, pero meron pa silang merong expression like kung kung naray pagay, buntising palay, ang panahon ng gawa, or nagmumutan-mutan na yung mga palay, gawa na, or meron silang ibang expressions na related na ibawa doon sa fishing community. So, yun sa mga maganda pang explore dito sa topic na ito actually, parang aware ako doon sa mga hindi tinignan nung study na ito, yung kung paano i-express yung concept na ito doon sa coastal areas ng Pangasinan. Dahil ako, yung pinagagaling ng from San Carlos, nasa inner Pangasinan siya.
Sir, oo nga po. Kasi nagtuturo po ako ngayon, Pangasinan Studies yung subject namin, kaya might as well ask.
Yeah.
Pero nung nagtanong ako, sabi nila, Mama, alam niyo ba yung gawat? Sabi ko sa kanila, as prior to attending the lecture. Hindi ka nila, sabi nila, hindi ma'am, gawat, awat ka. Alam ko nila. Tapos sabi nila, baka Ilocano ata ma'am ka nila. Pero yun po, magandang explore. Then, second question lang po, if parang narinig ko yung sa konsepto naman ng ginhawa. Kung parang hindi po nila naranasan yung ginhawa madalas, pero may konsepto tayo ng linawa. So ano po yung connection?
Yung linawa naman, of course, has something to do with breathing. No? Okay, so di ba kapag namatay yung isang tao, naandiyan yung linawa. So yung last breath niya nawala na. So ano yung concept naman ng linawa? No? So babalikan natin yung siguro kung babalikan natin yung concept ng ginhawa at kung ma-identify natin na term for Pangasinan is linawa or baka inawa din, pwede rin inawa is rest. Ano ba yung elements or components ng ginhawa? So pwede natin tignan, ganun ba tinitignan ng Pangasinenses yung linawa, aside from the literal meaning na breath, no? Ano yung mga elements, no? So we have material wealth. Ibig sabihin, yung mga material needs sa iba ng mga tao, pera, pagkain, no? Na-address, no, ng mga families. Pangalawa, we have social interaction. Importante yung relasyon ng individual o sa kapwa niya. Okay? Nung pamilya, involved sa barangay. That's why sa provincial, ito importante yung ganong relasyon na tumutulong ka, halimbawa kapag merong punsya or handaan doon sa kabilang pamilya, nakikihugas ka ng pinggan, or nakiki-assist ka rin, kung ano mang kinakailangan gawin doon sa kabilang bahay. We have spirit world, may paniniwala natin sa mga unseen spirits. Importante na maayos yung relasyon mo dito sa mga bagay. Sa mga spiritual, that's why we still have those expressions like tabi-tabi ko, bari-bari-bari, no, langit bagay, no? Dahil nga, ayaw natin na makasakit, halimbawa dito sa mga hindi natin nakikita, because kung sakali man, meron kong magawa sa nila, pwede silang mag-inflict ng illness sa'yo, no? Yeah, parang, I remember, nung bata nga ako, parang nagkaroon ako ng skin condition, tapos, baka meron nga kasi ako nasaktan na hindi ko nakikita. So we have to be aware of that. No? Na kapag hindi ganun kaayos yung relasyon mo din, no, dito sa unseen spirits na ito, makaka-apekto rin siya tungkol sa ginhawa na yun na pwede mong ma-experience. And last is, identify natin material wealth, spirit world, what do you call it, isa, social interaction. One last, ano yung last na component ng ginhawa? Ha? Yung environment, no? So importante na maayos ang pakikitungo natin sa kalikasan. That's why it's important that we take care of our environment. Dahil kung hindi maayos, no, yung relasyon din natin sa kapaligiran natin, we continue doing the same unsustainable fishing practices, makaka-apekto rin ito eventually dun sa quality of life natin. So, pwede natin tignan, i-analyze pa siguro yung linaw. I mean, that's for ginhawa. But since that's the equivalent concept, pwede natin i-explore kung ganun din ba yun. But then, pag linaw, kasi kapag yung pamilya na napag-aral na niya yung mga anak niya, malinaw na yung yun sa atin na. Ibig sabihin, malinaw na yung buhay. No? Nakakahinga na kayo. Yan, so mga pwede mga explore.
Sir, susulitin ko na last question. Kasi narinig ko po, di ba, sabi ni Ma'am Marot ng DFTP, ang Pangasinan refers to people, place, and language. Pero narinig ko kayo yung Pangasinense. So, and then meron pa isa yung Panggalatok, di ba, sabi nila offensive word, sabi ni Raul Lombino, Pangasinan may tok-tok, sabi daw, kaya huwag daw gamitin, and something to do with the Ilocano, Pangasinan feud. Ngayon po, may nagsabi na isang parang scholar din sa Pangasinan, sabi niya, kung ano na yung ginagamit ng tao, yun na yung accepted. So, parang wala naman ng malis sa paggamit ng Panggalatok. Kasi kami mismo din na-offend pag sinabi ng Panggalatok. So, ano pang opinion mo?
Kasi yung first na Panggalatok, Pangasinan refers to the province, the people, and the language. It's fine. So, pwede naman. Hindi ganun naman talaga siya. No? But then there are also other ways of also to refer to the people of Pangasinan, di ba, Pangasinenses. And mas nakasanayan ko din na gamitin yung Pangasinense. And there are times na para lang mas malinaw pag nire-refer mo minsan. Okay, so meron ganung distinct na form na ginagamit. Kasi kung isa yung form na gagamitin mo, anong nire-refer the province, the people, or the language. So just to be clear about it. So that's for number one. Number two, doon sa idea ng Panggalatok. Even I, no? Ako, di ba sabi nga San Carlos, nandiyan yung mga puro, di ba? Ang Tupilaya, sabi nga nila. Growing up, sinasabi ko Panggalatok, speaker ako. I remember in my BLL 101 class, sa Baguio, and then my professor that time, Dr. Beth Kalinawagan, please write your first language and your second language kung sa likod ng class card yun. And I wrote there, Panggalatok. That's my first language. Tapos, nakita ni Ma'am Beth yun, sabi niya, derogatory kong term na ito. And I didn't know it's derogatory. But because I use it, even Pangasinan users, Pangasinan speakers use it to refer to themselves. But then of course, there are groups na ayaw talaga, okay, may mga advocates na ayaw gamitin yung term na yun, and we respect that, no? Pero yung ano rin natin, yung nagbabago din, no? Yung hulugan, yung mga labels, mga concepts na ito. I won't get offended kapag tatawagin mo ako panggarato. Yeah, but pero minsan, para sige wala ng away, sige Pangasinan sila lang. May gano'n na lang ng bagong ginagawa para wala nang gano'ng conflict or hindi nahahaba pa yung usapan. Parang kita lang.
Thank you po. So, kaya pa natin ng one last question. Any member? Yes, ma'am.
Magandang simula sa inyo. So just share one. In Thai, I've been thinking about a word called water housing related to Thai word. In Central Thai, we have one word. We say Hwa. Hwa, of course, it's monosyllabic word. So Hwa, Khwaa. So Hwa is a verb. It means to reach also. To try our best to reach something or someone. For example, someone throw the ball for us, so Hwa ball. So also we do with the word Hwa with the abstract, not only people, not only the object, but we also say Hwa opportunity, Hwa the chance, try our best to reach that point. Yes, also the rights, the concept of rights. Also, we have the idioms. So we say cow is ganin. So cow yak means it's hard to harvest or it's hard to get the rice in some season. And then mak means better. The one that you chew.
Yeah,
low cost. So you chew the better. So mak means mahal. So in some season, this one is related to socio-economics, in linguistic domain, that there are some period of the year that happens. So it's hard to get the rice, and the battle is very expensive.
Good job.
Thank you, ma'am po.
Yeah, so parang, tuwa naman ako doon sa, natuwa ako doon sa discussion na meron pala tayong ganitong expression, and somehow we see the similarities in other languages like Universal Design Languages, Thai. So, yun lang yung point of itong presentation today is to look into this particular linguistic expressions, and from there, pwede natin mas makilala pa yung mundo, yung karanasan, yung mga taong gumagamit ng expressions. So I hope meron kayo napulot kung dito sa presentation natin today. Thank you very much, Dr. Sam.
Once again, many thanks to Sir Isko for engaging us and sharing your knowledge on the Pangasinan language. So on behalf of the UP Department of Linguistics, we present this certificate of appreciation so that we read upon them. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Francisco C. Rosario Jr. for delivering the lecture, A Concept of Gawat in Pangasinan, held on 29 April 2025 as part of the Philippine Indigenous Languages Lecture Series of the University of the Philippines, Diliman, Department of Linguistics. So Assistant Professor Ria Rafael, the project coordinator of PILS, will be giving the certificate.
Balbari, salamat.
We also thank the audience for their participation and questions, including those who are watching the recorded version on YouTube. For the members of the audience today, if you want a certificate of attendance, please scan the QR code posted around the room or type the URL bit.ly/PILLSPAG on only PILS is in all caps in their device's browser to answer the evaluation form. Regularly check our website and social media pages for announcements on future events and activities. Next month's installment will be Tangkang Paglalapat ng ilang kontemporanyong teoryang panggramatika sa Corohanon by Assistant Professor Vinci Santiago. For June, we have Higabnon, Notes from the Field by Associate Professor Jen Javier and Teaching Associate Patricia Asuncion. Stay tuned for updates on the PILS lectures for the rest of the year. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.